Welcome!
And good evening!
We are so happy to be here, and we are happy that you've joined us tonight.
We will be talking about a special topic that if you have a success-driven life, you are going to want to stick around. This is something that you need to know, and it gives the differentiator between being cocky and confident.
Yes, and if this is the first time you've joined us here, my name is Nicole Knock.
And I am Carl Knock, and we are Around the Leaf Digital Consulting. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Yes.
And we've got this great show for you, but first,
before we jump into this, let's talk about the Friday to Commitment to Excellence and the guest that we are going to have on this show this Friday at 9 p.m.
Yes, Friday. We are excited to welcome with us Amandia. This girl is on fire. She is killing it with her success-driven life. And, I mean, there's just so many things that
Yes, she's a celebrity stylist.
Yes.
She is co-owner of the Glensford Beauty Academy right here in Tampa. And she also has her own radio show and blog called Change Your Life with Beauty.
Yes.
And it's all about beauty information and everything. She is an expert in that field right here locally. And she has many other business ventures as well.
Yes.
So we are excited. She's busy, and we're glad that she's going to take some time off to hang out with us. Welcome, Fatty. How's it going?
Yes, welcome. And yeah, I mean, this is really going to be a great show, and we're going to find out really what's behind, kind of that drive.
Right. We're gonna talk about her journey. So
yeah, when she sent over her bio, we're gonna spend the whole show just reading that, but we're gonna spend the whole show on Friday finding out what has gone behind all of these achievements and success.
Right.
So you don't want to miss that. Like this page and share it so that we can get. What's up, Fatty? What's going on? So let's get right into it. We're talking about really the differentiator between cockiness and confidence, and really how you can apply that into networking.
Right.
So the biggest differentiator, we're gonna spill the beans right away. Biggest differentiator, anybody guess? Humility. Being humble.
Absolutely.
Being humble. And so C.S. Lewis says that, it's not about thinking less of yourself, but more of yourself less. So, you're thinking about the people around you and the world and how you can impact the world.
Are you focused on what you look like or how you're presenting, or are you focused on the experience you're giving to your audience? And your audience may be someone you just met, it may be a mentor, it may be a mentee. All of these different audiences need your experience to count, not just the way you look, because then you'll come off as cocky. If you just sit there and you constantly just talk about your achievements and talk about the things you can do or have done, then you come off as cocky, and it's not inspiring. It's actually quite a turnoff for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And, even when you take it into the realm of leadership, Jim Collins, who's the author of Good to Great, among other books, he said that this is the X factor in leadership, is humility. It's something that you need to be successful. And I know, with people like Gary Vaynerchuk or Ariana Huffington, Grant Cardone, who are very in your face, dropping F-bombs, everything like that, you're thinking, man, humility, really? These guys are humble and they're successful. Why do I need to be humble? But I tell you, there's a reason for it. What's going on, Heather? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Humble people, according to a study by the University of Washington Foster School of Business, says that humble people are equaled to effective leaders, are more effective. And in fact, they found, according to their research, that they perform higher both in team and individual activities, and because of this, they are, can be sought after more for the job search or getting that top CEO spot, no matter where you are on that journey. And so this is why humility is really something that you want to have.
Absolutely. And just thinking about the idea of humility, when you show some humility, even if you do know things, even if you are expert at something, first of all, someone else always knows more. I mean, even if it's not even in your own field, and it probably is in your own field, whether you want to admit it or not, someone always knows more than you. So if you're humble, if you bring that humbleness to your dealings, your business dealings, your life, you open yourself up for so many more chances to learn something and to make a positive connection and further yourself towards your business goal or your personal goal, or really just enriching your life and making a more fulfilled life. Truth, yes?
Yes,
absolutely.
Eva. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
You snuck in. It's good. It's good. So, so the opposite ends of this, where can the anti-humility go wrong? It would be, really the biggest one is a man by the name of Jeff Skilling. If you know that name, say yes in the comments.
Or like.
Yes. Because
wait.
And
wait, let's wait. It's 9-second delay.
Yes. Anybody know who Jeff Skilling is?
A company.
Anybody? He was the CEO of a certain company, 2001. No, yes. Okay, maybe you would know if I said the name of the company, which is Enron. Anybody heard of Enron? Say yes. So Enron was an energy company, publicly traded company, that the CEO, that's the CEO, was Jeff Skilling. And so after thank you, Fatty. Yes, everybody's heard of that one.
Exactly.
So yes, Enron, and what they did is they were kind of an energy broker, energy brokerage. What's up, Jasmine? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, haven't seen.
We're talking about Jeff Skilling, aka the CEO of, or former CEO of Enron.
Definitely former.
Of Enron. So, and he was a very cocky person. So when he first took over, he changed their accounting style to this mark-to-market, which was approved by the SEC. But what it did is that you could write your projected earnings on your financial statements that go out to the shareholders. So they always wrote themselves as being, they projected themselves to have all these profits. But really where it started getting
nothing to back it up.
Really hairy is that year after year. And so how they could inflate these is they would do, if anybody's familiar with the rolling blackouts that California had in the early 2000s and even late 1990s, these were caused by Enron. What they would do is they would call up these energy manufacturers there in the company and say, hey, shut it down for maintenance, right? And then what they would do, right, so the whole state or parts of the state, key parts always, would go out. We'd be black, right? Nobody has power. And so everybody's calling the governor, everybody's calling their senators, like, what's going on? While then Enron would raise the rates and call them and say, hey, we got this great deal to get your power back on, but you just have to pay 5 times as much as you normally would because, to get things going. So that is how, among many other things, definitely their CFO who would create create these other companies, which that part wasn't illegal, but hiding money, these shell companies, but hiding money in them and basically and trying to inflate, like, these companies are investing in us, and it was just their own money. And so that's really where the cockiness is expounded.
You're right.
But I mean, this
definitely
atmosphere
go wrong with being cocky, because then whenever you jump into that role of being cocky and thinking that you know it all and thinking that you can make this much or do this much and everything like that, you end up in this position where now you are forced to show. And if you are too cocky, like the CEO of Enron, you need to now fabricate ways of, showing your worth or showing that you are, good for what you've said.
Yes.
And of course that leads you down the wrong path. And just like our next person that we were going to talk about.
Yes, Michael Milken, 1990s again. It was a good year. It was a good decade. So he pleaded guilty. This guy was a junk bond seller. All right. So he pled guilty to 98 counts of racketeering, SEC, and mail fraud, and ended up having to pay a $600 million fine, as well as I believe he spent a few nights in jail. Now he is free, and he's going around with a much different tune in his
right. I don't know much about him, but
investing
definitely.
cycle. But yeah, he was definitely another one, and there's plenty others, right?
Yeah. It's
CEO of AIG, Abercrombie and Fitch. Blockbuster.
So many.
Yeah,
right?
There's definitely one.
We always go back to Blockbuster.
Blockbuster, Circuit City.
They always get bashed by
all these different CEOs who got really cocky
right.
at the end, thinking that they knew everything, and different things that we're going to get into.
Look
how
at Toys R Us. Toys R Us is having to
some
oh
issues
yeah,
too?
they're starting to have some layoffs.
There you go. Where a kid cannot be a kid because the CEO is cocky. Right. So yeah, I mean, if this is really resonating with you, please share this with others. We would love that. And
I want to actually
really
touch on that with Toys R Us, by the way,
sure.
because I feel like Toys R Us is in this situation where, like we talk about with Blockbuster.
Right.
Words. Like how we talk about with Blockbuster, instead of looking at ways to adapt to the digital realm or ways to adapt to the need for, or the demand rather, for a digital way of accessing their toys, they're getting cocky and saying, hey, but everyone likes the Toys R Us experience. Nobody's going to leave Toys R Us. Toys R Us isn't going to go down because people are loyal to the brand.
Yep.
Look, people are loyal to the brand as much as convenience can allow them.
Yep.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. When there are so many more convenient ways, I mean, people are in droves, and the majority, the people who buy toys on Amazon, the majority of them are only getting toys on Amazon. You got to think about that. That's a whole thought process that is switched.
Yeah.
Where...
Yeah. Because they offer this convenience.
Right, exactly. 2 days at your door. You don't have to carry a kid through aisles screaming at every toy they want.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's going on, Mildred? Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Howdy, across the street. But yeah, so
gotta have you guys on here.
Absolutely.
Drag you and Richard.
So let's bring this into networking.
Right.
Okay. So you're in a networking event. Let's talk this out, right? So you're networking, trying to get involved, or maybe you're trying to meet other people, whether that's in more of a social environment or more of a business environment. There's some kind of networking happening.
Right. There's some power plays, or not power struggles, but I would say power plays, because every situation is like that. Every conversation is like that. You want to know where they are, then you want to know where you are in that and everything. Yeah. And humility really is very important in just meeting someone. That first impression is like golden, because that could set you up for a very strong bond with someone, or that could set you up with someone not recommending you to anyone else.
Exactly. Lisa, welcome to the show. That's my cousin. What's going on?
Welcome.
So yes, and so here are some things that you want to do. You want to have humility when you're networking, and kind of the first way to do that is by listening. That's so important.
Never underestimate the power of listening.
The power of listening. What you can pick up on, names of kids, activities that they do, places they hang out,
Right.
different things like that that can really, it really shows the respect to that other person.
Absolutely. And your initial response when going to especially a business networking event is to get your worth out there, is to say, hey, I have a degree in this and I have this and and I know this person, they're like, to be valuable. But the most valuable thing you can do is listen, so you can correctly respond to what they are saying. Because if you are listening to them, but the entire time in your mind, you are trying to figure out how you can be of value to them or how you can prove your worth in these 5 seconds you're talking, then you're not going to have an answer that's going to make a connection there.
Yes.
And that's one of the hardest, let me tell you, that's one of the hardest things to do, especially in a networking event, especially when there's so much going on, and especially if this person is like a mentor to you or you look up to them in some way, is to just fully be present, mindful, and just shut up and listen. It's one of the hardest things to do, I'll tell you that.
It is, absolutely. And really, the benefit, like I said, of listening is it gives you this quantitative data, or like a 360 view
Right.
of what's going on. And really, if you're wanting to be successful, it's really not just who you know, but who likes you. So if you're paying attention to them, you're going to get these favorable looks from other people, because they're like, man, this guy wasn't just, or this gal or guy wasn't
Right.
just pushing themselves. I mean, they were like really
Right.
genuine and interested in me. And then again, the information that you get, you can use against them. No, use that to really build a relationship. And as a business owner, that's key. If you're, or just an employee trying to get into a company, all of a sudden you not only know the hiring manager, but you know that their kid plays softball on Thursday every day at 5:30 p.m.
Right.
at this specific time, and you walk and be like, hey, how's so and so doing in softball? It's such a great thing that to listen
Right.
when you're networking, because you can pick up on these little things that just shoot you above every other candidate possible. What's up, Russell? Welcome. And Andrew, welcome to the show.
Yes,
welcome to the show.
Yes, and to that point, just knowing those key little details, knowing, their wife's name, or husband's name, or their kids, or their sports that they're interested. Those give you talking points or modes of catching up with them, of reaching out to them and just saying, hey, I remember you said this, this, and this. How's everything going? Or whatever, to maintain that contact, to foster that relationship even beyond the networking meeting. Because that's kind of what happens during networking. It's so quick, and it just goes by, like a lightning flash. You're having a great time, you're talking to someone, but what is the motivation? What is the reason for them to want to stay in contact with you? And the only motivation for them to want to stay in contact with you is if you've fostered that, if you've listened to them and made them feel valuable. It's not about the value you bring as far as everything you have to offer. It's about making the person you're speaking to feel valuable in that moment.
Right.
Leaving them with that feeling that you really talked to them and listened to them and made them feel good about the experience.
Yes, and be an active listener, as Fatty says. Absolutely. That is really part of it. And if you're anything like I am sometimes, right, you're in a networking event.
First of all, I'm just going to say this real quick, but if this is hitting some key points for you and you feel like someone else needs to hear it, please share it. It's the biggest compliment we could receive. So we'd really appreciate it if you share this video.
And if you're loving what you're hearing too,
Yep,
definitely.
absolutely. Hey, Russell. Fatty, what's your most important part of being an active listener? How do you go about that? Just want to know. You can keep going.
Sure, yes. So if you're like me, when I get into a networking event, there is so much information. It's like an information just
overload.
You're like, oh
Right.
my goodness.
Cognitive depth.
Was that person for this company? Was this person for that one? I'm not even
Right.
sure. And thank you, Russell, for sharing all these different things.
Yes, thank you.
There's different ways that you can kind of help yourself out, both low tech and high tech, to be able to remember. And if just in case you're not a whiz with names and faces and putting them together, or jobs or kids or whatever, is you can do one of two things. One, you can use the note function in your phone, and as you walk away, write key things down.
Right.
If it's faster for you, you can use a pen and paper and write things down, like jot it down. One thing that we watched, this person purchased kind of like the server pads of paper and just wrote it down like it was
if they're at a dinner party or something, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of put faces and names and remember people, and that way they can call on them later, right? So, I mean, this is, again, what's up, Andrea? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
This is a kind of a way to...
Another example is if you leave with like a stack of business cards, which is becoming outdated, but still obviously happens for pragmatic reasons. Right when you get their business card, as soon as you can, have a pen with you and just kind of go, over to a little corner and write the key details of that person, like the physical description, or maybe the name of their husband, or or wife, or kids, or anything that they've told you that you can then use to really just build that relationship. It's just a little key.
Yes. So Fatty said to comprehend the meaning of the words spoken by another in a conversation or speech. That's kind of his act of speaking.
Good.
Absolutely.
So good, Fatty. That is perfect.
And Andrea says that saw that it's something about being too cocky. Definitely something that she needed to hear. Absolutely. Welcome to the show. I mean, this is great. We're talking about the difference between cocky and confidence, and that is humility.
Right.
And we're
we've
saying why it's so
lot.
important.
Yeah, we've already covered a lot of bases, Andrea. So you might want to go and rewatch.
I mean, still hang with us,
rewatch,
and then you can watch the rest of
we got a lot of good stuff coming up.
So yes, I mean, and really so being an active listener and listening to, I mean, that's really shows humility and can be a differentiator, shows you as confident. And again, like we said, that shows you as an effective leader. And so that's really one of the ways that you can be confident, or use humility.
You can appear confident as well. You can show confidence by showing humility and showing that you are willing to listen, and you don't need to scramble to show your worth, because that will show that you're not confident in who you are, because you feel like you need to show it and you feel like you need to prove it.
I remember I was listening to a podcast by Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker, and one of his CJ, who is his brand manager, was saying that he'll get an email from someone asking a question, and when he goes to call them to answer that question, he's got a small amount of time, okay? So in 30 minutes, this person takes 27 of them talking. And he's like, dude, you called me for my advice, and you take up most of the time talking.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? I can tell you what's wrong.
Right.
You're talking too much. That's what your problem is. And a lot of times we just get caught up. But again, that's one of the first things you can do to really bring that humility into networking, and that's by listening. The next one is being authentic, being yourself. And really where this is knowing the difference between your strengths and weaknesses, and being able to tell the difference.
Right.
And we're not saying to not talk about weaknesses.
Right. Exactly. Well, actually, we're saying to Not talk about.
Right, not to. I know what you're saying. You're like, wait a minute, whoa. So I'm meeting someone. So I'm sitting down for an interview, or I'm sitting across from somebody that I would hope I could work for or be a client, and they ask me like, oh, so what are you improving on, or what's your greatest weakness?
Right.
What do I say? I thought I'm supposed to be talking about how strong I am.
Right.
Like I'm the best thing ever at doing whatever this is. And they're asking me what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on with that? What's up, Philip? Welcome to the show. Phil, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Well, how do I answer that? You know, first of all, somebody without weakness, it's not showing that you just have the greatest strength in the world. It shows you as being ignorant to yourself.
Right.
As well as immature, like you don't know what's going on with you, that you have no clue what you're weak or strong at. Why should you trust someone that doesn't not only know what they're strong at, but what they're weak at?
Right. Because really, when it comes to weaknesses are opportunities of growth. Now, when you think about something and you think about, oh, I failed this task, right? And you say, but I have no weaknesses. Well, then how did you fail this task? How did this business fail? There's got to be something that is weak enough for you to be working on, or else, like he said, you're just ignorant to what you are weak in. Yeah. Weakness is actually a sign of confidence. It can be a sign of confidence, because when you're sure of your strengths, when you're sure of your expertise, but you know that you don't know. Okay. Sorry, a little screen popped up. But you don't know what you're weak at. You don't know what you can improve. Then that's a problem.
Now, the answer to what is my weakness, okay, it's not going to be something that you're not working on. Never answer with something that you're not working on.
Right.
Okay, that's the key right there. You're going to have something that you've got, you're weak at. It's not like your greatest weakness. It's like, okay, I say you don't read a lot, okay, and you're trying to read more, and slowly but surely you've gotten from reading, once a night every month to once a night every week, and so like that. That's something that you're improving your knowledge. You're doing more research. Okay, that's kind of you're improving on doing better research, and different things like that. So that would be your weakness. If you never pick up a book or something like that, that's not something that you're going to bring up. Okay? Something that you would have no interest in improving, that's not a weakness, that's just
something you don't want to do.
Something you don't want to do. That's not a weakness, all right?
Let's be honest. You just don't want to read. Like, it's not a weakness.
You don't want to read, okay? You're more into technical side of it.
Right.
So what's the weakness there? Like, you would like to know, you're just learning more about this, and that you're still learning about it, such and such. You want to get something that you're at, not at ground zero, that you're at, a little bit above that.
Right, absolutely, because that actually, especially if it's a mentor, especially if it's someone in your field, especially if it's a mentor, that actually opens up an opportunity then for that person to say, oh, well, I know so-and-so who can help you out with that, or I found that this helps me, and be open, even if it's a suggestion that you've already heard before or you're already doing. There is no value in saying, oh, I already know that. There's no value in it. There's never been any value in just saying, I already know that. Yeah. Because it leads to a situation where now you're not necessarily giving that person that experience. Even if you do know it, just listen through and say, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it probably is a great idea. You already know it.
right. Yeah, because again, if you're saying that you already know it, that's closing the conversation.
Right. Absolutely. It's making them feel bad about it.
Are there pictures in the book? I don't know. Or pictures in the book. Depends on the book.
The book is from Milwaukee.
Pictures of pictures. You can never learn too much. Absolutely, Andrea. Great point. Great point. And another thing about knowing your weaknesses is vulnerability. It burns innovation and reciprocity.
Absolutely.
Reciprocity
So
is this idea that if I give you something for free, that you almost have this like, oh man, like they gave me something, and then you almost feel it like if somebody gives you something for free, like is of value, you're like, whoa, man, wow, that's awesome. You almost feel indebted to that person, right? That's reciprocity, all right? So this is what vulnerability does in these situations where you're kind of exposing yourself. You know, you're not just, oh, I'm big and strong. You're kind of like, well, I'm working on this. I'm proving here, this, that, and the other. And spelling, I think it's autocorrect, really, Russell. I just found it a little funny that you're talking about pictures, too. I knew what you meant. So, yeah, kind of like a favor. Absolutely, Andrea. And so it's this reciprocity, and so that's like giving back, and almost like they owe you, right? And so that's kind of what this vulnerability does when you exposing what's wrong.
Right. They're like time and time again, some of the most amazing entrepreneurs have gotten where they are, have become millionaires by just giving for free.
Yeah.
Just by giving for free, they end up in, so even if they have a product that's really expensive, even if they have a product that they know is going to kill in the market, and they know, that it's going to get somewhere, being in the circle of people with money is obviously beneficial to their product and to themselves.
Right.
So in just giving that person the product or helping them in some way and proving that, it's not about the money, they just want to help them. That law of reciprocity, or that reciprocity, the feeling of reciprocity, makes people want to give them back, makes people want to give them a chance, because they see that humility. They see that they would do anything to, attain their goals or successes in life.
Right. Kind of like Tai Lopez. In a way, yes. Kind of like Tai Lopez.
There's a lot of Tai Lopez's.
There are a lot of Tai Lopez's. Anyway.
He actually, unfortunately, I feel like he comes off as cocky, especially in his Facebook videos. And I think that's a turnoff to a lot of people. Maybe it's good for, his segment.
Sure.
In the market. Maybe he's going for that, young, kind of ignorant or arrogant kind of, sect where, those guys are like, yeah, I just want the money, I just want the cars.
Young college A-type men.
Right.
Males.
And maybe that's his segment in the market, and maybe that's what he's going after, but it's a big turnoff for a lot of people, and they even say it in the comments I've seen. Yeah.
Like I said, he has his target market. Like I said, it's to me, it's like the 20-some odd male in college who's, whoa, I want to make so much money. Give me the car, the women, everything, the beards, everything like that, right? The beer, or the beards. Yeah. They need a beard. They need to grow in a beard, man.
They're freshmen.
They need a beard. Sure. That's who his target market is, and how he's positioned himself works for that audience. But yeah, exactly. It doesn't work for everyone. And if you're trying to get a job interview, you walk in there, drive in and park in the hiring manager's spot with your car, and then bring in and dump the amount of books that you read every day.
Right.
You're an a-hole. You're not getting hired.
I'm
just saying, right? Okay. So I'm just telling you. Pump the brakes on that one. The other one. So the other part of thank you for the laughs and the humor, by the way. So the other part of this kind of be authentic is that you need to have the ability to admit when you've done something wrong.
Absolutely.
If you've made a mistake, you've messed up, whatever, however big or small it is. You need to have the gumption and the courage to be able to admit it.
It is so hard. It's so easy to mess up, but it's so hard to have the courage to admit you messed up.
Right.
And you don't want that stain on you. You just want to wipe it off and move on to the next thing.
Right.
But it's in the mess ups where you learn the valuable skills. It's in the mess ups where you learn the valuable lessons that will make you a better person or a better whatever thing that you were trying to accomplish. So really admitting that mistake will get you further than just ignoring it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're not supposed to, like, focus on your failures and let them keep you down. But at the same time, you're supposed to learn from them. You're supposed to admit them and move on.
Yeah, and really,
And that
back
helps
to
you
this
get over your
leadership.
failures as well.
Right.
It's just
Right.
admitting them.
You know, and in a networking party, you know, you may not experience many of these. You know, you accidentally bump the table. My bad. Excuse me. Or, you know, but this is kind of expounds into even just like leadership role,
Right.
where, you know, I mentioned earlier on Jim Collins, who wrote Good to Great, and it was his study into this level 5 leadership, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so 5 is where you have this, when a leader would admit that they're wrong, when something would go wrong in the company, they would look at themselves and say, oh man, I did something wrong. You know, I didn't
Right.
train them right. This didn't happen. You know, I should have done this better. We could have, you know, instead of what normally happens, which would be the level 4 leader, which would, if something goes wrong, be like, man, you know, the market wasn't right. The sales department screwed it up. This, that, and the other, and so this ability to be able to admit when you're wrong not only shows a quality of a leader, but it also leads by example and shows what you expect. Because if you blame others when something goes wrong, what do you think those people who look up to you are going to do when something goes wrong?
Right.
They're not going to be honest with you. They're going to blame everything else except where they take the responsibility. They're going to try to bring as many things that they could think of why something else is to blame, and that doesn't fix the problem.
No,
So,
absolutely not.
So that's why admitting when you're wrong is good.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, we were actually thinking about having a show on the level 1 leaders.
Level 5.
Level 5, sorry. Level 5 leaders on Monday. So type yes in the comments if you guys want to see that happen.
We could give better case studies on that.
Yeah,
and thank you, Serena
Go into that
and
further.
Penny, for sharing this video. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very much.
We love
very
the
much.
shares.
And of course, you know, on that, it builds trust as well.
Sure.
You know, when you're able to admit that you're wrong, those who are either, you know, your mentors or those who you're mentoring, you know, it definitely can build the trust and build that relationship. Same with clients.
Absolutely.
So, and really the last thing that we're going to really talk about on how you can do this humility. So Andrea said, and I see a lot of yeses. Yes, admitting your
Awesome.
own problem
We'll totally do
leaves space for confronting them and learning from them. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing this. Love it.
Yes.
That's absolutely right.
Definitely
you know,
appreciate that.
when you, at least for confronting them, yeah, and you learn from your mistakes. You get to fail forward. That's a great book too. Maxwell, I believe. John Maxwell. Sorry, John Maxwell. Failing forward.
We'll get there.
So yes, that's where that's how you learn. That's how you
Where
learn.
it's at, people.
And really, so the last area of humility where you can do great in networking is generosity. So again, it comes back to this aspect of reciprocity. There's a lot of rhyming words today, but
Make a
it's a little
rap.
Sesame Street or rapping.
Should we make a rap? Type yes.
We should make a rap. Yeah. So generosity with the reciprocity. Okay, no, anyway, lay the beat. Sorry.
That
Give
just
me a beat.
happened.
So yes, generosity without an expectation of return.
Right.
That's the key part. So you're not just giving things away because you're hoping, like you're waiting. Man, I gave them something. Where's my cut?
Right.
Where's this thing?
Absolutely.
Because again, you already get, you know, The Bible talks about it. Many other people talk about it. You already get your reward if you're trying to give stuff just for the return of it. All right. So that's not where you want to be when you're networking. In fact, most people, like you mentioned, a lot of people who have gotten their starts did it by giving stuff out for free.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
even people who are accomplished give stuff out for free. I mentioned earlier Eric Thomas, motivational speaker. If they're asked, they have a company policy. If they're asked to do something that they have never done before, like never, and this guy, I mean, he is one of the top, maybe the number 3 or 4 motivational speakers in the world, okay? If they're asked to do something, like they were asked one time to do voiceovers for Under Armour, maybe, no, for the NFL, okay,
right.
Of all people, right? So the NFL asks him to do voiceovers, and they say, well, how much are you going to charge? Now, they've never done this before ever, right? You know how much they charged? Nothing. 0. NFL calls them up and says, hey, voiceovers. And they say, yeah, we're not charging, right? You know how much more money they got for voiceovers after that? A lot.
Right.
A lot. They charged on their second one, I'm just saying. But on their first, they gave it out for free, and it was just so much that they got back from that, and that generosity. And mostly their market is they motivational speakers for school-age children as well as athletes. So
amazing stuff he's doing.
Amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
And so so that's where this generosity is almost your generosity is going to promote you instead of having to self-promote you without it.
Absolutely. I mean, to say, oh yeah, I'll take like $20,000, $2,500 even, to NFL for the voiceovers, they would have said, okay, I have your check, your job is done, here's your check, we're even, right? But just the thought of yeah, I'll do it for free, that now shows the kind of person he is, saying, okay, I've never done this before, so our company policy is that we do it for free, and then you can see what if I do a good job, recommend me to others. Because that's all you need to do.
That's it.
That's it. And it's the NFL. They probably got tons of jobs out there just by the connections.
Absolutely.
Really. But at the same time, the point of doing it was not to get those jobs. It was a generosity. But because that reciprocity is in there, that's kind of one of the laws of the points in the law of persuasion, and that made them want to do something for him since he's already done something nice for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, Andrew, you're saying giving back like Oprah, or, a lot of, Ellen DeGeneres does that.
Thanks for sharing this, Fatty. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Definitely.
There's quite a few different people that have. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And, a lot of people don't grasp that concept.
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to touch on this. So Andrea said, so many people do not grasp the concept just to give to give. I did not understand that people did not grasp that concept. I mean, I've never seen it as anything but giving to give. Like, if I give you something that is no longer mine, but I never knew that people see it as a balancer game.
Right.
I never thought of it that way. So it's really important to understand if you are the kind of person who sees it as, I gave you this much, you should give me this much. In networking, that's going to make you look cocky. That's going to make you look not confident in what you're doing. That's going to be a negative. So kind of practice this idea of giving just to give. Even if you give to a homeless person, right? You're giving that money and the money's gone. Right? Yeah. You have no say of what they do with that money. And that's kind of goes right along with that. It's just, don't be attached to your money, especially when you're giving. Don't be attached to your services, especially when you're giving. You're giving that out of love. You're giving it to give, not to get.
Right. And let me put 2 little caveats on this, okay? We're not saying to give away everything for free. Not saying give away everything. Although people have done that, and if you look in the Bible, Jesus, if you wanted to be a disciple, you have to give away everything. But that aside, I'm not saying give away everything, okay? But I'm not saying just give away the cheap stuff either. You ever walk through a department store? You're walking through, and all of a sudden, you get a spray of perfume, or handed in your face with a little stick, and you're like, God, what is that? You kill a skunk, or what just happened here? Or it's like.
Right.
It's like either a canasta tournament's happening nearby, or you're not sure, right? So what I'm saying is like, give some value to it, all right? Like, don't just hand out everything, but don't just hand out the cheap stuff either, all right? So that's my 2 caveats to that. I'm not saying to give away everything, but I'm not saying just give away pens either. Although pens are useful, I'm just saying don't just give,
You
the
give
cheap
away
stuff.
the best.
Right.
Absolutely, especially if it's a service that you offer, or the service that you're going to offer, you are going to work your tail off to make that the best experience possible, or that opportunity. You're going to want to shine so much in that opportunity and overgive,
Right.
that person's going to be like, wow, I could have paid this much for it, or whatever. But you don't want to say, oh, well, this was free, so we're going to just call it in today. And, because that's not giving to give. When you give quality. You give the best of yourself, not just whatever's laying around.
I'll give an example. So at a previous employer that I worked for, I was working in the marketing department, and we were going to be at a golf tournament, and we needed a handout. We needed something, some kind of promotional item. And so we looked at a bunch of stuff, pens, bags, different things like that, but nobody wants to carry around an extra bag. Nobody cares about pens. They already either have a pen or they're using a pencil. It's, there's a golf tournament, right?
Right.
So one thing, this was in South Florida. Southeast Florida. It gets pretty hot there, okay? Even at that time of year, which was in March, April timeframe.
What was the golf tournament? What was it called?
Honda Classic.
There you go.
All right, so at the Honda Classic.
Big one.
And so, Tiger, VJ. Clearly I don't follow much golf, but at any rate, McElroy was there. So at any rate, thank you.
You stopped him in
You
his
stopped
tracks.
me. You guys
My
give us an amazing
goodness.
show, do an amazing job, both of you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that
means a lot.
compliment. That
means a lot.
definitely-
Absolutely. So, suspense over. You did stop me. I was like, "Whoa, that's a lot of words there." It's good. So I found a belt loop or a clip. It was like a Wannabeaner, right? A carabiner that clipped on your belt loop that had a ring on it that could hook onto a bottle of any kind, alcoholic or non. So, gives you a hands-free thing, and it just so happens to have the name of the company on it.
It's pretty
Just
sweet.
so happens. Those things, we were giving them out for free. People were telling others, like they were like, "Whoa, where did you get that?" They're coming like somebody
That's pretty
said that they
sweet.
got me from got these from your like you had these, you have these. Yeah. We're also selling other stuff too.
You gotta get those for our company.
Absolutely. So it became, and it was a functional, like what Andrea said, a functional freebie, and people were eating them up. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden they've got all the little branding laying all around her house after the tournament's done. Boom. Instant,
Walking around
right?
with the branding.
Walking
Absolutely.
around with the branding. It's
Yeah.
recognizable. It's functional. Be like, hey, where did you get that? That was the question asked, and that was the goal. Accomplished. So that's what I'm saying, right? Generosity goes a long, long way when you're networking, when you're at events, when you need to get people's attention. It goes a long way.
Right.
So with that, this is we could go on, but we're not going to.
This could be a whole week's worth of topics.
It could be a whole week's worth of
there's
topics.
A lot of content.
We appreciate everyone. If you've loved what you've heard, please like our page,
Right.
Around the Leaf Facebook page, as
Spread
well
the
as
word.
share this video if you haven't already. We appreciate you guys. You have been a lovely and awesome audience. A lot of feedback and
Yes.
everything like that, which we love. And so with that, please join us Friday for
Yes,
Friday's
Friday.
Commitment to excellence. We are bringing on a rock star entrepreneur. She is literally everywhere. I cannot read off her whole bio. It would be a long thing, which is awesome. Which is awesome, and she's going to go into why this is done. So how she's been able to achieve this. Right. Thank you for that compliment. Power couple. Love the research that goes into this. Thank you. We appreciate that now. We do a lot of research for these. But all right. With that, humble. Be humble. Embrace the humility. It's going to take you where you never thought possible on your success-driven life. With that, we'll see you on Friday.
Good night.
Good night.